If you haven't noticed, robot vacuums are everywhere these days. There are a lot of great cheap models out there, but they really only deliver on the basics. So if you do want something with all the bells and whistles, you're gonna have to spend just a little bit more. How much? Well, that's honestly up to you, but like a lot of other categories, if you want to spend the most amount of money, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be getting the best robot vacuum that's on the market. This is actually my second video on the Eufy S1 Pro. After using it for a couple of months now, I thought this would be the perfect time to do a comparison to see how this stacks up when compared to another high-end robot vacuum that's on the market right now, the Roborock S8 MaxV Ultra, which costs $1,800 versus the Eufy S1 Pro, which comes in quite a bit lower at $1,500. And for full disclosure, this video is sponsored by Eufy, but they are allowing me to come to my own conclusions here. So all the opinions that I'm expressing here are completely my own, which does go to show you how much confidence Eufy has in the S1 Pro. So let's see what these two devices have to offer. We're going to kick things off with the Roborock here. And I have to say, the feature set is pretty impressive. The price tag is definitely justifiable, $1,800, when you compare it to the competition. This is a complete robot vacuum and mop system with a base station that can be used to automatically empty the dustbin once it's done vacuuming, and also emptying out the mop water bin and refilling that as well for every time that it goes to mop the floor. The base station also has a built-in cleaning system so that it cleans the mop pad after every cycle, and then a drying system so that it dries the mop pad so that it doesn't smell. And like a lot of other robot vacuums, this here does feature a mop pad at the bottom that does vibrate in order to clean the floor. It vibrates at 4,000 times per minute. Of course, it is a vacuum as well. It has 10,000 pascals of suction and an extending brush arm here on the side so that it can get closer into the corners for better cleaning. On the inside, there is a built-in 5,200 milliamp hour battery, and then a LiDAR system for mapping your area and an RGB camera for obstacle avoidance as well. And that camera can also be used through the app as well for remote control of the vacuum, which turns this into essentially a roaming security camera for your house, and also has the ability to track down your pets if you want to harass them remotely as well. It does have voice recognition built in so that you can start and stop the different vacuum cycles without having to use your phone, which is always a great option. Overall, the Roborock is a pretty capable system. As for Eufy, the company's been innovating in the smart home segment for years now, and also recently won a CES 2023 Innovation Award, so I do have high expectations for the S1 Pro and its $1,500 price tag. Like the Roborock, it is a complete robot mopping and vacuuming system with a base station that will empty and refill the mop water and also empty the dustbin as well. It will also heat up the mop pad so that it dries, so that it doesn't smell. But unlike the Roborock, the base station doesn't have the functionality to clean the mop pad because that's actually built right into the robot vacuum as well. The S1 Pro is the first robot vacuum that sports a self-cleaning roller mop. And this feature was rolled out about 6 months ahead of all the other competitions that started rolling out similar features. But we'll get back to that in a minute. The clear water tank in the base station does look pretty sleek, and it makes it easy to know when the water does need to be refilled. But Eufy has also built in an ozone generator into the water tank, which kills 99.99% of the bacteria in the water, which you can also watch as it bubbles up thanks to the built-in LED light in the water tank. While most robot vacuums are typically round, this allows them to navigate around your house a little bit easier while moving around your furniture. You may have noticed that the design of the Eufy S1 Pro is a little bit more square. While this did take a lot of work on Eufy's part, I do think that it was definitely worth it. So it allows it to get closer into the corners and clean a lot better. Of course, this wasn't just an easy design switch. It took a lot of work from a navigational standpoint as well, with a complete rebuild of the algorithm and how the S1 Pro moves around your space. As for the mop, this one spins at 170 RPM while applying 1 kilogram of downward force while mopping the floor. But of course, the highlight is actually that it cleans itself as it goes around the room rather than spreading around dirty mop water all over your floor. And then when it detects that it's going over carpet, it pulls up into the body so that it doesn't get the carpet wet. The unit also is a vacuum, of course, with 8,000 pascals of suction, and it does sport 2 brushes on the far top corners so that it can get really close into those corners of the room and clean so much better. It does have a built-in battery at 4,600 milliamp, and then an incredibly robust navigation and mapping system with obstacle avoidance, with LiDAR, binocular infrared imaging, and also an RGB camera, which all of that combined allow it to avoid obstacles that are as small as 1 square inch. This is definitely quite a bit more advanced than what you typically get on competing devices, so we're going to be putting these two systems to the test in a head-to-head comparison later on in this video. It does also feature voice controls with integration with Google Assistant and Alexa, or you can also control it with the control panel and LCD display that's built into the top of the base station so that you don't always have to pull out the app in order to use the robot vacuum. This may not be the most expensive robot vacuum and mop system that's on the market, but clearly Eufy has delivered when it comes to the S1 Pro. Now that we know what each of these devices are capable of, it's time for a head-to-head showdown to see how these two devices perform in regular everyday use. And for that, I devised a series of 4 standardized tests which we're going to repeat with both of these robot vacuums. Let's take a look. I'm kicking things off with the mopping test, for which I spilt a 1/4 cup of milk and some salad dressing on the floor. And the first one up to clean this was the Roborock with its vibrating mop pad system. And at first it looked like it would do okay with this test, but the mop pad simply spread the salad dressing all over the floor and also managed to spread the milk out as well, leaving a noticeable mess behind even as it boldly proclaimed that the job was finished. After that, I repeated the same test with the Eufy S1 Pro with another 1/4 cup of milk and Caesar salad dressing poured onto the floor again. This time around, the results were dramatically different. The self-cleaning mop roller did an incredible job, cleaning the entire mess. You honestly couldn't tell that there was a mess there to begin with, which shows just how much more efficient at cleaning the self-cleaning mop roller system is inside the Eufy S1 when compared to the competition with vibrating mop pads. Next up, I wanted to test the standard cleaning modes on both of these units to see how fast they would clean the first floor of my house with mopping the hardwood floors and also vacuuming the carpets. The Roborock took significantly longer at 68 minutes of cleaning time, and that's not including the 3 times it returned to the base station to clean the mop pad. While the Eufy S1 Pro was 19 minutes faster, clocking in at 49 minutes, and it only took 1 break to return back to the dock to empty out the dustbin. The third test is a pretty standard vacuum test. For this, I used a 1/3 cup of rice, spread it all over the floor, and then saw which one of these devices cleaned up more. While the Roborock does have an extending brush arm to capture more debris and get closer to the corners, it also seems to fling that debris away from it so that it's not always right in front of the vacuum as it rolls over. The S1 Pro does have brushes on either sides on the front, which do an incredible job of making sure that the debris moves right in front of the robot vacuum as the unit rolls it over and vacuums it up. The Roborock only left a little bit less than half of a tablespoon of rice on the floor, but it was no match for the Eufy, which managed to practically clean up every last piece. It honestly wasn't even close. The fourth and final test was obstacle avoidance, to see how these two devices compared when trying to avoid random items that have been left behind on the floor while they're trying to roam around your house and vacuum and just trying to do their job. Both devices did a pretty good job in this regard. They both recognized the cable on the floor and also the controller with a strap that was hanging off of it and steered clear of them as best as possible since they didn't want to get tangled up in them, which is really great. Both of them did have some issues navigating around the pink Kirby on the floor, pushing him around just a little bit, but the Roborock was the only one that pushed around the little stormtrooper, managing to push him out completely from his original starting point. Neither of these devices was perfect at navigation. There's always going to be something in your way, but they both did a pretty good job managing to clean the area that they were assigned to do without any issues. As I said at the beginning, Eufy was very confident in wanting to pit the S1 Pro up against the Roborock S8 MaxV Ultra in this video. If you're simply looking at the specs, the matchup here is pretty close, but the results of the test clearly show that the Eufy S1 Pro has the clear advantage in this matchup, despite being $300 cheaper than the Roborock. Not only is it less expensive, but it's faster, picks up more debris, and the self-cleaning roller mop actually gets the job done, rather than just spreading around a mess on your floor, which you'll have to clean up on your own if you're using something else. And I love the design of the base station as well, since it's much cleaner than pretty much any other robot vacuum base station that's out there. Let me know what you think of the results of this matchup in the comments below, and whether or not you think the Eufy S1 Pro is the right pick in this showdown. For more details on Eufy's most capable floor washing robot vacuum, check out the link in the video description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.